Hello, Council Bluffs Chamber of Commerce members. This is Drew Kamp, President and CEO of the Council Bluffs Area Chamber of Commerce, here for our February 11th weekly legislative update video. A few quick things I wanted to update on as far as what's happening in the legislature. Key things that I'm going to touch on: tax update and votes, workforce proposals, and then also some updates just on talent in general throughout the state. As far as tax goes, the House did pass out of committee, and it's on the House debate schedule. Their House tax bill, they had an open forum, a public meeting for it this week, and that's now ready for debate. It sounds like on Wednesday next week on the floor of the House. The governor's bill has not seen movement. The Senate has a different bill brought and introduced by our own Senator Dan Dawson. That's the one that includes not only changes to corporate and personal income tax as well as tax credits, but also changes to sales tax to kick in I will and the 3/8 sales tax penny to the Natural Resource and Outdoor Recreation Trust Fund. There's a lot of moving parts with each of the bills, especially the Senate bill, as it ties to local option sales tax and what that looks like as far as utilizing that portion of the sales tax revenue for the 3/8, which is about $240 million or so, and funding for the Natural Resource and Outdoor Recreation Trust Fund. So the Senate has passed it out of committee and Ways and Means, so it just is open for debate as well for debate on the Senate floor, but we don't know for sure necessarily what day that will be. One thing that's important to note, as I said, there's a lot of different moving parts with some of those tax pieces. The I will piece and the 3/8, there's obviously a lot of intricacies with that, so that's something that really has to be ironed out, and there's a lot of moving parts with that within the Senate bill that Senator Dawson has done a really good job kind of introducing and moving forward through his chamber and the Ways and Means Committee in which he chairs. But we'll be interested to see what comes of that. And ultimately, it's going to be a compromise, obviously, between the governor, the Senate, and the House. So we'll be interested to see what comes of that going forward. With regards to workforce, there's a proposal put out there that includes some changes to unemployment reform, like, for example, ratcheting it down from 26 to 16 or even 12 in some proposals weeks, also a 1-week waiting period, some other changes to unemployment benefits. But it also ties in some pieces with medical malpractice and trucker tort reform, putting some non-economic damage caps on there that will help, in our opinion and others' opinions, with both med mal and trucking, some liability issues that have been identified in both areas. And us as a border community, especially with the med mal, that's a big deal. So we're watching that closely and advocating for it on behalf of our hospitals and healthcare systems. One thing that's important to note as you shove those kinds of things together, obviously there's some pieces and some things can be made messy because they get marred by one or the other, just simply because they've been put into one package. So it'll be interesting to see if ultimately towards the end of session, do they end up settling on a merge approach, or do they pull things out like trucker liability and med mal that may have the necessary support to pass specifically in the House largely, that they wouldn't be able to pass if kept bundled together. So that's something that's going to be interesting to see. We've seen these grand packages and bargains at the end of sessions before. Will that happen with those issues to get them over the finish line? We'll continue to keep a close eye on that. With regards to talent, there continues to be some bills that could potentially impact our ability to attract and retain talent, some quality of life amenities, some attractions for a community attraction and tourism piece, sports marketing, things along those lines. And those include things like RFRA, transgender ban on athletes, and potentially if they look to do it in the region institutions, the implications that would have. But our approach on that is really just to obviously make sure they don't move forward, as you can imagine. But we also just want to make sure that we're doing due diligence on some of the back end. There's about a half dozen or so states that have passed these, for example, transgender sports bills. And we would really, it's incumbent upon us as chambers and other groups to reach out to some people in that state, see if they've had some adverse impacts. That's something we intend to do, and we'll have some additional information on that going forward. But it's just important to note things like that, as I said, those kinds of bills, as well as quality of life amenities bills, things like I will, some of the things Representative Segrist is looking at doing for our state parks. Also, some of those different pieces with placemaking and funding for that. There's a broad gamut of things that can really positively impact talent and workforce. So we are always keeping our eye on the prize in that regard, because talent and workforce, as you can imagine, are the #1 priority for our members and our community. So that's something we're keenly aware of, and we're always trying to make sure we're positively impacting in every way we can. In closing, I do want to just note that there is our legislative reception coming up Wednesday, February 16th from 5 to 7 p.m. at the Embassy Suites in Des Moines in the East Village in downtown Des Moines. We're looking forward to having that. It's the first time in 2 years we've been able to do that. So we're really excited to welcome people to the atrium of the Embassy Suites to kind of celebrate Council Bluffs and the great things we have going on in this community, if able. We really do hope that you're able to come and participate and join us in celebrating our community and interacting with some of our legislators, elected officials, other community leaders from throughout the state. Also, 2 weeks from today, on the 25th, we'll have a legislative roundtable. It's going to be from 12 to 1:30 p.m. with our local legislators, and we're looking forward to that as well. With that, I will wind down our legislative update for February 11th, and I'll just end by, as I always do, thanking everyone for their continued support and engagement and participation in not only the public policy programming that we offer here at the Council Bluffs Area Chamber of Commerce, but just the chamber in general. We could not do what we do without you. So thank you and have a nice rest of the day.